late May, the RAAF handed over the F-111 to the South Australian Aviation Museum. Several dignitaries were present, including Group Captain Craig Heap, who handed over the aircraft to the museum.
It's my privilege today to represent the Chief of the Air Force, Air Marshal Jeff Brown, in handing over a wonderful piece of Australian and RAAF history to this South Australian Aviation Museum. The F-111C behind you is an integral part of the RAAF and Australian aviation story. The F-111C was a long-range supersonic strike aircraft that provided excellent service to Australia as a country, as a nation, for nearly 4 decades. It was operated by No. 82 Wing at RAAF Amberley between 1973 and 2010 and served around Asia and the wider Americas as well. In its day, the F-111C was the best long-range strike aircraft in the world, capable of flying extreme distances and then penetrating complex air defence systems by day and night in all weather. It did this by flying lower and faster than any other contemporary aircraft at the time to deliver precision weapons onto targets. The F-111 was affectionately known as the Pig for its ability to hunt at night with its nose in the weeds, thanks to its special terrain following radar, which was a major sort of innovation of the late 60s. The aircraft behind me, A8-134, is a little bit more special than the average F-111. It is the only, from a historical perspective, it's the only reconnaissance version that's been preserved of those that we are preserving. It's one of 4 aircraft that was modified in the early 80s, which would have been at the forefront of any reconnaissance of targets, both before and after major strikes. This aircraft would have been first in and last out prior to a major strike in our region, or wherever it was employed. F-111s such as this, and the strike variants as well, provided various Australian governments over a long period with what's called strategic military options, providing a tremendous and somewhat unquantifiable deterrence effect when Australia's national interests were required. Like an insurance policy that was never claimed, thankfully, the F-111, and this one in particular, never had to exercise its formidable strike capability in a real conflict. However, this platform's real effect was to allow Australia to contribute more significantly to the wider regional security and stability of our area. It is with this peaceful purpose in mind that the RAAF welcomes the formal handing over of this very special piece of Air Force history to the South Australian Aviation Museum, enabling generations of South Australians and other visitors to marvel at this iconic platform and think of the men and women specifically who flew and lovingly maintained this fantastic machine. I know that 134 will be in just as loving and cherished hands in the care of this extraordinary museum. Okay, and we're very happy and quite emotional today to be handing this aircraft over. I personally lost 5 very good friends over the period of this aircraft service in various accidents, as they were doing everything they could to ensure our nation was safe. And as part of this today, it's a little bit emotional for me as well, as it's the end of a great aircraft and a great era. So, ladies and gents, when pilots hand over the controls of an aircraft in flight, please, David, what we do is we say to each other, handing over, normally with a shake of the control column. So on behalf of Air Marshal Jeff Brown, the Chief of the Air Force, I say, handing over A8-134 RF-111C to the South Australian Aviation Museum.
Thank you.
Enjoy.